Yeah! Here we go!
It's time for TSS Fantasy.
It is Commissioner Cooper.
Hold on. That's a big balls move. Do you want your title?
Happy Sunday. Happy early morning trash football game.
Yes! We're back, baby! Let's go!
Feud with Aaron Rodgers. I almost got banned off TikTok for the things I did.
Repaired MCL sprain on his knee. He has had some nagging hamstring issues over the years.
D. Lots of fun words start with D. Like, bye weeks!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy. You're on mute. If you did a yeah.
Oh, what's that?
Well, welcome
my
in.
thing is on lag.
Oh, is it? Oh,
my thing is on a lag. Yeah, so it muted me because of the opener. Yeah.
Well, welcome in, my friend. Sorry that you're lagging a little bit tonight, but that's all right. We're here to pick things up. It's Friday night. Hope you're feeling all right. It's week 11. Man, this fantasy season is going by insanely fast this week or this year. So I hope you all ready to get some W's because playoff time is here, and we're gonna get things started tonight. We got our starts and sits. We got sophisticated starts. We got to put you in the MEG zone tonight. So we're here to answer any of your starter sit questions. So make sure you put those in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid. Give us a like. Throw your comments, as I alluded to earlier, and subscribe to the channel. Little things stopping you from doing it. Big things popping for us when you do, so we always appreciate that. Also, if you're looking for some championship bling for your fantasy champion, look no further than Pro-Am belts. And, of course, if you're looking for some daily fantasy, go to Fast Trap app. Use the promo code TSS. We're going to double that deposit up to $50. Believe it or not. All right, well, Justin Jesus Herrera, welcome into the studio, my friend. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and it's fun to get to see where Mr. and Mrs. Cooper make all the magic happen. I love how you faded out the bedroom.
All them sheets are all messed up back there. Oh no, yeah, it's just Friday night.
I wonder what was going on beforehand in there, huh? It's some law stuff, right? Wink, wink.
She's out in the living room being like, yeah, you're lucky. Yeah, right, bitch. All right. Well, look, we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. Like I said, it is week 11, so we have it. And he said, if you say rough twice in a row, it sounds like you're saying Santa Claus, LOL. Hey, I got one for you. If you say the phrase rise up lights, it sounds like you're saying razor blades in an Australian accent. So if everyone wants to try that, go right ahead. Rise up lights. All right, let's get things started tonight. We got injury news from our man in our doc in the middle. We got some little other comments in here. Appreciate you guys being in. 200. He put 200 down like that. Appreciate that. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's get the doc in. He wants to talk about injury news. Let's get those lineups. Let's bring in Brian Scott from the Injured List podcast.
It's time to get your latest NFL injury updates with Brian from the Injured List podcast. The doctor is in.
The doc is in again. Week 11 is here, my friend. Welcome in. We appreciate you. Brian Scott is here. Welcome in.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I got a little distracted. I was writing Justin's prescription. He's got a little bit of a lag condition going on, but don't worry, there's medicine for that. So just make sure, Justin, you take it with some water. Don't operate any heavy machinery or drive a motor vehicle, and you should be good. All right. So we
good advice. That's good advice from the doc. We always appreciate that.
Looking out for my peoples. Looking out for my peoples.
We always appreciate that, my friend. All right, well, we got, like I said, it's week 11. A lot of things to talk about. Let's go with the injury. Well, it shouldn't be too bad this week, but what do you got on the injury list today?
Well, no, actually good news, because there was a lot of updates that came out today, and it sounds like a lot of the question marks have already been answered. So I don't think there's going to be much in the way of updates come Sunday morning, which is a nice change of pace. And some shocking news coming out of certain areas of the country and teams, namely Joe Burrow activating the 21-day practice window. Unbelievable. Never expected to see him back this quickly on the field at all. The fact that they've opened up the 21-day window means that there's a chance that he is actually going to be activated and play again this season, which is shocking. I thought for sure this would be the end of his year. Coming back from a turf toe surgery at this juncture post-operatively is very, very surprising, and may, in fact, rewrite the medical manuals about how quickly you can recover from a turf toe injury and surgery. I mean, this is unheard of. A lot of the surgeons I've spoken to once this news came out were flabbergasted and shocked at that revelation as well. So it's not just coming from me, it's coming from a lot of people in the healthcare and sports medicine arena as well. So shocking news coming out of Cincinnati. Joe Burrow will be ramping up his activity if he does get activated. I don't think it's going to happen, though, until the very end of that window. And I think they're going to have to really see what he can do before making that commitment and getting him back out there on the field. Because if there is a re-injury, that could be devastation. That could be career threatening. So hopefully they play it smart and don't get overzealous here. But wow, big news coming out of Cincinnati. And speaking of big news, how about Brock Purdy? All of a sudden goes from barely doing anything, limited practices, to now he will be the starter on Sunday with his lingering turf toe variant, whatever you want to call it, thing that's been plaguing him all year. I was shocked by that as well. I've been saying very adamantly that they should have shut him down. He possibly may have needed surgery. And yet here we are. Him and Ricky Pearsall are both going to be playing. They both missed several weeks. They'll both be active for this weekend's game in Arizona, which is where they're both from. So I think that maybe had a lot to do with their motivation to get back out there and maybe save themselves for this weekend. So here we are, lo and behold, they'll both be playing. Jackson Dart will not be playing because Brian Dable tried to kill him to save his own ass, and it didn't work. He's got fired anyway, thank goodness. But as a result, now Jackson Dart is in concussion protocol. Probably shouldn't have been in that 4 weeks ago. But alas, here we are. Jameis Winston will get the start. Jaden Daniels is probably going to be another week or two, at least, I think, before we see him back with that elbow dislocation. He can come back with the brace. He probably will. That might speed up his timeline a little bit. CJ Stroud still out with the concussion. Running backs, I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be done for the year. Apparently, he injured his foot on a hip drop tackle. He's seeking a second opinion, which is very concerning. Given his history of injuries, that is also very concerning. I am not looking for good news here. I expect only bad news. I don't think we're going to see him again. Speaking of seeing a running back again, we finally saw Bucky Irving actually doing something at practice this week. Whether that means he's coming back this weekend, I don't think so. I'm not sure if he's been ruled out yet.
Probably he's already been ruled out.
Yeah. We may see him next week. Who knows? He didn't even do much this week, so whether he was at practice or not didn't really matter. Ramondre Stevenson is going to miss another game with his toe injury. He's already been ruled out. Isaiah Pacheco will sit out this weekend. He will probably wait till after their bye week before we see him back, so this will be the second straight game he'll miss. Chris Rodriguez, his shoulder injury sounds like it's nothing serious. He did get a full practice in on Thursday. We should see him, as we should also see Bam Knight. He was listed on the injury report earlier in the week, but it sounds like he's good to go. And then Trey Benson still has not been activated off of IR. They have not entered him into his 21-day practice window. That could potentially be a few more weeks before we see him do anything and return to the lineup. As far as receivers go, Marvin Harrison Jr. had an appendectomy, which is basically he had his appendix taken out. Good news is they're not doing it like they did back in 1997 when they took mine out. They're doing it through small portal incisions laparoscopically, which makes the recovery much faster. I still think it will be at least 2 weeks. Those incisions heal, even though they're much smaller. and it is your core, that can hurt. It can take some time to recover from that. Some outlets were saying 1 week. I think that's a little optimistic. I think it might be closer to 2, and no sooner than that. Roma Dunze was activated. Was listed with an ankle issue. So I know he's not serious. He'll be in. Garrett Wilson, I didn't think we were going to see him back the rest of the year, and then he went on IR, and I really don't think we're going to see him back the rest of the year. Given the way the Jets season's unfolding, he basically made it back for like a quarter and then got hurt again. Sounds like he's not going to need surgery, but it sounds like it's a significant knee sprain again. So he's out, and I don't think we'll see him back. Brian Thomas continues to carry a questionable tag. He may have already been listed out too. I don't know for sure. He's been dealing with this high ankle sprain, has been out since week 10. I don't know. He might have got a limited practice in earlier this week. I just don't know if he's going to be ready yet. Devontae Adams has been said he'll play. Sean McVay has said he trusts that he's going to be ready to play, that this back injury is nothing serious. I expect that he will play as well. We should see him. Terry McLaurin, quad. I'm not sure we're going to see him back the rest of the year, to be honest. There was some video of him jogging on the sideline today again, and I'm like, this dude's obviously limping. Like, he is not fully recovered at all. So I don't know if we're going to see him ever with this quad injury he's dealing with. Calvin Ridley carries a questionable tag Sunday. He did get some limited practice sessions this week. Could be a true game-time decision. Darius Slayton has already been ruled out with his hamstring issue. DJ Moore should be in. He had a minor shoulder thing that was listed this week, but nothing serious. Chris Godwin, we may never see him back again, although Jeremy Fowler reported that it could be a few more weeks before we see him. Some outlets were saying that maybe next week. I'm not very optimistic there either. We're not exactly sure what he did to his fibula, but it was the same one he had surgery on. Who knows? I thought it was a stress fracture, in which case I don't think we see him back yet. Kashan Butte is out with a hamstring injury. He got listed out early in the week. Marvin Mims cleared concussion protocol today. He'll be in. Dalton Kincaid with the hamstring injury, he's officially out. Sam Laporta with a back injury, he's officially out. And Aronde Gadsden with a quad bruise, sounds like he is expected to play, and we should see him. MRI showed no major damage to the knee, with just a quad contusion. So those are the players I have this week, and that's pretty definitive list. I mean, most of those questionable tags have already been determined. It sounds like most of them are playing. The only one I would say is probably up in the air still is going to be Calvin Ridley, and that, again, I don't know what the report said today. I think he's still limited, but other than that, it seems like things are pretty much set for this weekend.
And no one really cares about Calvin Ridley anyway, so all good. We're going to get to, we've got a couple comment questions in here. We will get to those in a second. I was going to ask you, but I'll just tell you, go follow Brian everywhere on social media. It's the Injured List podcast. You can find him everywhere on social media, give you lots of great updates as far as injuries are concerned, as well as, of course, on that right here on That Sports Podcast Network, does some great interviews with some athletes and ex-players as well. So make sure you follow and subscribe there. And other than that, you'll see him on this Sunday morning. Make sure you wake up with us at 8 a.m. We'll be doing our Wake Up with TSS Fantasy show at 8 a.m., which will help get your lineup set and hopefully help you win some money. All right, Brian, we appreciate you, my friend. We'll send you out. And like I said, we'll get to those comments in a second. But we'll send you out with our friends from NeuroGuard Plus. If ever I can find the damn button.
Dr. Michael Hutchison has harnessed the latest in neuromuscular dentistry and impact technology to develop a mouthguard that does more than protect. It enhances. NeuroGuard Plus isn't just a mouthguard. By focusing on the jaw's physiological position, it provides an added layer of neuroprotection, significantly reducing the risk of sports-related neurological injuries. All athletes should be using a custom mouthguard designed to their bite position. NeuroGuard Plus was created as a means to maintain your physiological jaw position regardless of your bite. The appliance is designed to optimize your upper-lower jaw relationship to improve your strength, your balance, your oxygen intake, and drastically lower your chance of a concussion. Independent studies have shown that the NeuroGuard Plus will provide you with improvement to both upper and lower body strength. The same improvements were not present with a common mouthguard. Over 6,500 athletes have used the NeuroGuard Plus. Dr. Hutchison is happy to say that the amount of diagnosed concussions is 0.2%. The NeuroGuard Plus offers athletes, coaches, and parents an advantage to keep their players safe on the field. If you or your child actively participates in athletics, they need to be protected from the dangers of repetitive head trauma. Get your NeuroGuard Plus mouthguard today. Click on the link and use code ILP Sports for 10% discount on your purchase.
Get those NeuroGuard Plus out there today, my friends. All right, let's get some comments before we start with our breakdown for tonight. First, we got a question from Daniel Paps. Although he's not first, but it was an actually legit fantasy question, so I figured I'd bring that up. Since we're a fantasy football show, fellas need help. Got Bo Nix, but should he stream Mariota, Brissett, or Darnold? Thank you. Hendo got me 30 last night. Ooh-wee. I know you're feeling good. We're going to talk about that game here in a second. But what do you think here? I mean, Knicks has got a tough matchup with these Chiefs, so I'm down to stream a couple of these guys, but I think Sam Darnold would be my guy. But what do you say?
Yeah, I was going to say, you could probably give me the best input on this one, seeing as how you are a Knicks guy as far as carrying him on your team. I don't know, man. I'm back and forth. You know, that Darnold game is kind of tempting, but at the same time, it could be one of those just struggle games for both sides. I'm kind of like a little bit, and I'm not even being a hater here. I'm just a little bit on the Mariota side. I don't know. He every once in a while he pops up with one of those big games, and Dolphins defense has been good, but at the same time, we've also seen them play not so good at times. Brissett, I don't really like it against the 49ers just because 49ers are getting a little bit healthy on the defensive pass rush, and he's not the runner he used to be. If he was a good running quarterback, or at least a thinner running quarterback, I would probably say yeah, but seeing as how he's probably on the latter end of it, I'd probably say no. So, I say Darnold's the safe option. Mariota's that little, if you've got 30 points already and you want to just go for that major upside, I'd say Mariota's that major upside type of guy. But I think Darnold's definitely safe.
I don't think you're hating. I will say, though, I'm almost exact opposite of how you're thinking. I feel like Mariota, because he's consistently been 18, 19. I mean, they got whooped last week, and I think he ended up with 18 still. So I think he's the more floor play, where I think Sam Darnold could get, because of you're going to see a lot of action on the Rams offensive side as well. So you could also see a world where Sam Darnold could be that big ceiling play for you. And I'm with you on Brissett. I mean, look, it's Jacoby Brissett, bro. I mean, I said it 100 times. There's a reason he's a journeyman quarterback, bro. Like, at the end of the day, he's playing well. And Niners D is a little bit banged up, but, it is what it is. He said he missed the Ridley Jones white triple threat for Atlanta. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. Back in the dizzle. And he does have JSN in his lineup. All right, Daniel.
There you go. Stack it up, buddy.
That's a nice little start for you. Belly Z, you're the best. Gave us $2. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate that. Started. Not really sure what that meant. And this was the best one. You look like my toe. I guess you're shaving your hair on your toes, bro, because that's probably the only way I'm looking like your toe. By the way, Daniel Berry Sports, appreciate you chiming in, and put the fries in the bag, please. All right, these are the great ones that I love. All right, thank you, Daniel. We appreciate it.
It better be hot and salted, motherfucker.
That's right.
All I'm saying.
Definitely got to have
McDonald's coming through with that hot and salted fries. Burger King sometimes slips you some cold fries. I'm like, bro, there ain't even a line here. How you slipping me cold fries?
That's great. Love it. All right. Aries Zed, bro, how are you? How are you, brother? Appreciate you coming in, unless you're talking to whoever I is. All right, let's get things started with a little news.
Breaking news. The boys from TSS Fantasy still don't know what the hell they are talking about.
Well, this would normally be true, but I think we all knew what was going to happen last night. 27-14, Patriots over the Jets. Again, it was one of those games where I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to put it on, but, I don't really give a shit because I wasn't really expecting a lot of action. But damn, it made my eyebrow raise up when I see Travion Henderson get in once, then twice, then 3 times a lady last night. I kept searching through every fantasy league I was in. I was like, who started this guy? Who started this guy? Because what a great night he had last night. And he's really stepping up big time in this offense. Only 62 yards on the ground, but he got the 2 TDs and then 5 catches, 31 yards, and the TD. Stephon Diggs also 9 receptions, 105 yards, and of course Drake May doing what he's been doing, 281 with a TD. Not a lot on the ground last night, so I think some Drake May owners were a little disappointed, but that was because Travion was taking them touchdowns away. And on the Jet side, I mean, when you have Breece Hall and he gets you 50 yards, but Justin Fields is your leading carrier, man, you got problems, bro. At the end of the day, this Jets offense is stanky. But what were your thoughts on last night's game?
Yeah, it was a fun game for Travion Henderson owners. If you got 2 thumbs and you love Travion Henderson, this guy right here, boy. It's always a good kickstart to your week or your weekend when you get 30 points right off the bat. It's going to be interesting. A lot of people are going, hey, put Ramondre back in when he gets back. I don't know if you want to do that. I mean, this team is so explosive with Travion in there. He can obviously take it from anywhere to the house. He showed that last week. And then this week, he goes right up the middle and starts slamming people right on his way to 3 touchdowns. So, at some point, it becomes undeniable that there's a transition from a journeyman running back to the star running back. And I think that's what we're seeing here. No one's going to ever say Ramondre was the star because dude was a 6th-round pick out of Oklahoma. And it was a great story, did phenomenal stuff. I'm a big Ramondre Stevenson fan, but, when you have that much talent, it's hard to put it back on the bench after you've seen it displayed. And then on the Jets side, it's just the Jets doing the Jets thing, man. They started out really freaking hot and then just absolutely flamed out at the end. Justin Fields he can't take all the blame. There were a couple passes where you're just like, dude, you've got to bring that in. I'm looking at you with Donnie Mitchell. But, shit, man, like what I feel like it just becomes a feeling when you're in like that ugly gangrene. There just becomes this lull, a part of you, you just go, ugh. You start to feel like puke because your puke is just touching you everywhere. And, I'm sure Sauce Gardner is happy to be out of there, and we're going to see how happy Quinion Williams is on Monday. So, yeah, that's my analysis of that game. You're on mute.
My bad. Last night I noticed it just seemed like Mitchell was just feeling just a little out of place or almost nervous, if you will. Just wasn't quite ready to be in the limelight, I guess, for the Jets. Because that one pass, like Justin Fields threw a dime to him right on the outside shoulder, and then he just went right through his damn hands. I was like, oh my God. And there was a couple of them like that for them last night. So, not like you said, not for nothing. Justin Fields shouldn't get all the blame for the Jets' offensive woes. Unfortunately, they're the Jets, bro. It is what it is. All right, let's get on to this week's games. But before we do, we got a big question in here from Juan Pena Jr. All right, he wants to know who are my receiver 1, 2, 3, and flex spot. All right, let's get it lined up for him. He's got Devonta Adams. He's got Debo. He's got Quentin Johnson, Jacoby Myers, Jordan Addison, Parker Washington, Hollywood Brown, Ted Johnson, and his running backs, Zach Charbonnet, or a receiver. He's got Josh Jacobs, and he played Travion last night, and of course, Jonathan Taylor on the bye. So what do you think of this one?
All right, so if Devontae actually plays, you have to play Devontae because the second string corner for Seattle is absolute dog shit. He is a flaming pile of dog shit, and that is just Tyreek Woolen. Sorry about that, dog, but you are just terrible. So if he plays, you got to play Devontae Adams. And then it becomes very interesting because I want to say Jordan Addison because I think this is going to be a really good game for both sides. Jordan Addison last week hauled in 4 passes, but he had 11 freaking targets. Like, obviously, McCarthy was trying to feed him all day long. It just wasn't on the same page. That happens sometimes. And then, you got a flex spot, so you got, quite a few running backs. I'm hoping you already played Travion Henderson because when you got Josh Jacobs and Travion Henderson and Jonathan Taylor, goddamn, son, you ain't got many problems. So out of the rest of them, it's really tempting to go. For me, it's tempting to go Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston, Devontae Adams, and then with the flex, Deebo Samuel, just because Deebo's had his days against the Dolphins in the past. That's all I'm going to say. Deebo's had his days. And Deebo always has 1 or 2 at the back end that makes you kind of hype up about him. So maybe he has one of those days.
Dolphins historically struggle with big receivers as well. So, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see where Deebo's having a good game against us. I don't see an issue with that. So thank you, by the way, Juan. Appreciate your question, my brother. Daniel Cap says, believe Adams leads the leagues in TD catches as well. I have to check that, but I think you're close to being right. He's been money. This whole setup for the Rams. This has been a great offensive team put together, if you will. Take away Cooper Kupp, add Devonta Adams, and they just didn't miss a beat. So, yeah, I'm feeling you on that. All right, look, we got a whole week's of games to break down. Let's get it started with the breakdown.
It's time to get your lineup set with TSS Fantasy's Friday Night Breakdown.
Breakdown! Bring it on down! Breakdown! Bring it on down! Bring it on down! Bring it on down!
Just Craig going, oh, it's the best. All right, let's get started, of course, first we'll go with our overseas game with Washington versus America's team, the Miami Dolphins. This one should be good for fantasy. You got Washington, who's 30th against QBs, 23rd against running backs, or 30th against receivers, 23rd against tight ends. And America's team, the Dolphins, 25th against QBs, 25th against running backs, 4th against receivers, and 30th against tight ends. So give me your starts and sits for those Commanders.
For the Commanders, I think I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, Marcus Mariota in a pinch. So, I'm not saying start him if you have a single QB league, and unless your Mike doesn't really have any QBs. But, if you're in that super flex league and you had Daniel Jones and you're looking for a good solution to it and you got Marcus Mariota, I think he's a good fit there. As far as their running backs, man, they're splitting duties. So it really becomes hard to trust either one of them. I like Chris Rodriguez, but he kind of feels touchdown dependent. And then Bill Krosky-Merritt has really lost a lot of steam in my eyes. So I think I'm going to say don't touch the running backs unless you need really bad for a second flex. Like say you have one of those leagues where you got 2 flexes, maybe that's a spot for them. But other than that, I mean, I wouldn't really be wanting to put my money on either one of those guys to be good this week, or at least good enough to put points that you would want on the board.
All right. So for America's team, listen, definitely Achane. I mean, he's been money all season long. Obviously, last week with the big game last week. Jalen Waddle might end up being a league winner for a lot of people with that Tyreek injury. Just really has been stepping up in the offense. And listen, not for nothing, if you're looking for somebody to stream this week, I know we brought up some QBs here earlier. Look at Tua, bro. It's Tua time. And look at the schedule going forward as well. So they got some cupcake games coming up for them this could be a nice little run, not only for this Miami offense, but for the Miami Dolphins in general. Now, other than that, you might want to look at Malik Washington possibly in this matchup. He's been stepping up a bit. He's definitely got the speed. It's just the route running and hands have always been a question. But he's still a young kid, so possibly you're starting to see him mature a little bit more in this offense. So maybe somebody you could flex this week, but I wouldn't put too much money on that. But I definitely am down to be picking up some Tua time right now because, like I said, he right now is looking with all the schedules, all the things with the schedule and stuff, looks like he could be a good play going forward. All right, and that's about it because, with Miami, I could sit here and tell you Dulcich or whatever tight end they want to throw out there this week. But it's really hit or miss, quite frankly, until Darren Waller gets back. If Waller gets back now, I definitely like what I'm looking at there. But other than that, I'm good. All right, let's go to the next matchup. We got Green Bay Packers going up north to play the New York Giants. Green Bay against fantasy QBs are 9th, 6th against running backs, 14th against receivers, 21st against tight ends. The Giants, 29th against QBs, 30th against running backs, 26th against receivers, 13th against tight ends. What say you on those Green Bay Packers? Who you like?
Josh Jacobs. I mean, I'm being completely serious with you. This should be a cupcake game for Jordan Love, and I should be sitting here telling you, oh, go start Dontavian Wicks because he had 8 targets last week, and this should be a nice week for maybe Romeo Doubs to show back up. But I just can't trust it, Kamish. I can't trust any of these Packers. But you know who I can trust? Who's always there for me? Who's always finding a way to the end zone? Josh Jacobs. So I'm gonna lay it on you. I'm gonna say the same thing I said with Mariota. Jordan Love is an excellent option if you need that third quarterback to fill in for a super flex. But if you don't, leave him on the bench. Let him sit there. I can't, in good conscience, put him in and go, oh, this is going to be a cupcake game. Because I feel like I've said that a couple times this year, and it just never turns out that way. I don't know what's going on with that Packers offense, but it's not working. The only other thing I'll say is the Packers defense against Jameis might be that's literally the definition of boom bust. Because either Jameis is going to put 42 points on your ass, or he's going to throw 4 picks. So you're either going to be, whoa, or you're going to be, holy shit, how did that happen? And Packers have already made me go, holy shit, how did that happen? The Dallas game scored negative 10 points on defense. That was fun.
I like it. So listen, for this Giants team, it was so much promise and excitement. And then, of course, injuries happen. And now we're sitting here like, is there anyone I like, actually? But yeah, I could tell you Wan'Dale Robinson definitely is a flex worthy, if not a wide receiver 2 option this week. I know Packers defense is about that life, but you got Jameis Winston, as you said. Listen, he does not care if he throws 50 picks. Because he's going to just keep flinging that rock. They don't have that running game that you expect to see. Now, from what I understood, the new head coach really likes Tyrone Tracy a lot, where Daboll likes Singletary. So for those Singletary owners that were a little excited about what he was doing, you might want to take a step back this week. If you got him in that flex option, maybe look for something else. One, because this Packers defense, run D especially, is all that. But like I said, you're going to expect to see a little more Tyrone Tracy in this particular matchup, I think. So really, Wan'Dale Robinson, you could take us, depending on what you need this week for tight end. But there's so many good tight end options. I'm not seeing why you'd get Mr. Johnson in your lineup. Other than, like I said, you're just really searching for something. But I really like Wan'Dale Robinson out of all the receiving options, if you will. He's a wide receiver 2 to a flex option for me in this particular game. And like you said, I think you hit it on the head. Jameis Winston's that guy. He could put up 40, he could put up 2. So it's kind of hit or miss. But I think, this week, like I said, with no running option against a good running team, you're going to expect him to at least throw the football to try to stay in this game. So those are what I like it from the Giants side. All right, let's get it moving on to the biggest matchup of the day, the Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans. Houston against fantasy QBs are number 1. They're 9th against running backs, 5th against receivers, and they're 4th against tight ends. On the Titan side, 20th against QBs, 28th against running backs, 24th against receivers, and 10th against tight ends. So let's say you on the Texan side, who do you like and don't like on that side? Oh, hold on one second. We got a quick question from Unknown Cayman. He wants to know Vidal or DK in the flex this week. What do you think? Oh, you're muted, brother. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. That's my bad. That is my bad. Work with me here. I really like DK in the matchup against Cincinnati because Cincinnati is, I think their best cornerback is probably a cuttable player on any other team. I think it's like Cameron Taylor Britt or something like that. Just absolute not a good cornerback at all. Man, the problem is I'm telling you to go after a guy who has constantly let me down in one of my main leagues in DK Metcalf. But guess what? I still want to start him because I'm just like, you know what? I think this is the week. I would go with DK, but also at the same time, I haven't put a lot on my bet, so they haven't been paying out too much. But Vidal, he's good, but actually the Jaguars' rush defense has been surprisingly good this year. They're the 5th best in the league, so that's kind of a knock to it. But the Chargers have been all over the place as far as like scoring and all over the place of their season period. So I'm going to go with DK. I'm just going to keep it a long story short. I've already drawn it out too much. DK for me.
I'm going to go DK as well in the matchup. Like I said, it's just a better matchup. Defensively, the Jags are pretty decent against the run, as you mentioned. So that could be an issue for Vidal this weekend. Maybe see a little bit more of Justin Herbert. I know they've been talking him up this week. So that's probably what you'll see more, a little bit more of a pass-heavy attack for them out of this matchup. And now the one thing I will say, the only bugaboo, and we'll talk about this more on Sunday morning at 8 a.m., but there were supposed to be some 19 to 20 mile an hour winds in that Steelers-Bengals matchup, which will I was really hoping for the father time shootout. So it might take a little bit off of that, but these are old veteran quarterbacks that know how to play in weather. So that would be the other caveat back to that. So anyway, but yeah, I'm still with you on DK. All right, what do you say now on the Cincinnati Bengals? Or I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong game. I'm already talking about that
Houston
game.
Texans.
Houston Texans. There you go. Keep me with it.
Houston Texans. Everybody. Play everybody. Davis Mills, excellent option. Nico Collins, excellent option. Dalton Schultz, if you need a backup tight end to fill in, excellent option. Woody Marks, excellent option. And on to the Tennessee Titans, because if you have a Houston Texan, you want to play him. Other than obvious like Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, you don't want to play those guys. But if you have a star on the Houston Texans, play.
I distinctly remember last week on Sunday morning someone asking about QB flex options or somebody to play for their QB because they had a bye. And I do remember distinctly saying, go ahead and pick up some Davis Mills, bro. That man can throw that pill around every now and again. So, yeah, look. Like you said, start them up because this Titans defense is a garbage. And is there anything that I could possibly tell you to like on this Tennessee side? No. All right, let's get to the next matchup. We got like Texans D. That's the smash start, I think, in this one. Let's go to the next huge game of the day. The Carolina Panthers visit the Atlanta Falcons. Hopefully a revenge game for the Falcons because, man, the Panthers put a beat down on them last time. Carolina against fantasy QBs are 10th, 16th against running backs, 3rd against receivers, 26th against tight ends. Falcons, 7th against QBs. They are 29th against running backs, 8th against receivers, and they're 2nd against tight ends. All right, what say you on those Carolina Panthers? Who you like and don't like?
Rico Dowdle. I really like Rico Dowdle in this game. I know last time it was a trampling. The Panthers put it real heavy on the Atlanta Falcons. I'm looking for more of a competitive game this game. Ted McMillan is a very safe floor. Any game he goes out there, he seems to find 70 yards. And if you're in PPR, he'll find you about 5 to 7 catches. Very safe floor for a wide receiver too. Rico Dowdle is my dude. And yeah, that's it. Bryce Young can, I don't know, maybe he can grow like 3 or 4 inches. I mean, put some stilts on, son. I don't know what you're doing here, but it just doesn't seem to be working out with him, and I think they'll probably be looking for a new QB soon.
So this one's interesting. I know Michael Penix Jr. didn't even play the whole game last time. They were getting whooped so bad. So I expect a nice explosion from this Falcons offense this week. Love Drake London, love Bijan, and I believe it or not, Pitts has made my top 12 this week. Been somewhat consistent. He wasn't doing all that great last week, but I expect him to fall into the end zone this week. Carolina have been consistently bad against tight ends, and it's a great matchup. So I'm all in on the Falcons this week. I think this is a revenge game for them. And like I said, I think the stars come to shine this week. Meg actually, in the Meg zone, you'll hear in a little bit, she took Darnell Mooney not getting in the Meg zone this week. And she's got a different Atlanta receiver that she actually likes, not Drake London. So something else we'll talk about here in a little bit. All right, let's get to the next matchup because that was kind of boring. This one's kind of interesting. The Chicago Bears go to Minnesota. And Chicago against fantasy QBs are 27th, 19th against running backs, 28th against receivers, 23rd against tight ends. On the Vikings side, they're 18th against QBs, 11th against running backs, 7th against receivers, and they're 22nd against tight ends. So what say you on the Bears side? Who you like and don't like?
Yeah, so Caleb Williams is a real gamer. I'm really excited about what his potential is against a good team, which we'll find out on Sunday because he'll be playing the Vikings. Roma Dunze seems like a no-brainer. It seems like they're just trying to find him all the time. He had a couple lapse games, but he has bounced back real strong. The tight end, I really think it's Loveland's job to lose at this point. He came on pretty strong last week, 55 yards on 5 catches. And then, as far as the running back goes, that's the one thing I'm kind of hesitant to touch because Monangai is still getting the touchdowns, but Swift's still getting the majority of the touches. So it's kind of one of those 50-50 splits where you don't want to really have it in your lineup unless you need it, especially going into these trying times where you're trying to set your playoff position. So I think I'm going to pass on the running back situation. And, I'm not going to touch the defense either because I think this is going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, I'm real interested in this game, see how it plays out. J.J. McCarthy has been okay. He hasn't been, lights out, but he's been okay. Justin Jefferson, you're going to start, but he's really moved in that receiver 2 territory. I hate even saying that. It feels weird even coming out of my mouth, but that's kind of where he's been. Jordan Addison, more of a flex type player, flex to wide receiver 2. But the more interesting thing, I think, in this particular matchup is the running backs on the Viking side. Jordan Mason, who came in real strong, all of a sudden just been faded off. Aaron Jones came back and looked like, he's returned back to his Packer days. So he looks really good, and I like him in this matchup. And like I said, Jefferson and Addison, both more receiver 2s, but obviously good enough to be in your lineup. And TJ Hawkinson, I just don't know what's going on. The guy just never got healthy. I don't really understand what went on with what's going on with TJ this year. So, and with all the other options that look so good, I wouldn't even really be looking at TJ Hawkinson in this particular matchup. So that's the way I sees it. All right, let's get to the next, another good one. The Chargers are going to be facing the Jacksonville Jaguars, going to Jacksonville, by the way. So Chargers against fantasy QBs are 3rd, 14th against running backs, 2nd against receivers, 6th against tight ends. On Jacksonville side, they are 28th against fantasy quarterbacks, 9th against running backs, so we mentioned earlier, 23rd against receivers, and they're 31st against tight ends. So what say you about those Chargers?
Seems like start everybody with the running back is a good play on that one. With the Chargers, it's picking who's going to be the receiver to go off on you. I have a feeling with Gadsden's injury, it'll probably be a slower day for him, which might mean we see Quentin Johnson touchdown, Ladd McConkey get Ladd numbers. So I'm going to stick with Justin Herbert having a great game, Ladd McConkey being the major recipient of it, and Quentin Johnston be a really good flex Hail Mary. I'd sit Gadsden if you got somebody else better. If you don't, obviously put him in because he's got that upside, that ungodly upside. He's a great receiver. Tight end, slot receiver, whatever you want to call him, slot tight end. And then Vidal, I don't think he's so I know I said that Vidal over DK is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do DK over Vidal, but I think he's still a good option if you need a flex, because he's one of those guys that you can get him all the way down the field and then he can just roll himself into the end zone, steal a touchdown from the offense. So, yeah, if I'm a Chargers, if I'm a guy who has a lot of Chargers on his team, I'm very happy to put more than one in the lineup this week.
So on this Jacksonville side, it's just interesting. That'd be the word I'd put it. Because, Parker Washington having hamstring injury, coming back from that, I mean, he's been the hot guy, the hot-ish, if you will, especially he does stuff in the special teams department as well. But I'm a little nervous to starting him. The guy I'm really interested to see maybe acclimating himself into this offense is Jacoby Myers this week, being that Parker Washington's a little banged up. So you might see, and I think we'll see a game script where the Jags are going to have to throw the football quite a bit. Chargers run D is pretty good. Travis Etienne, flex start this week. And Trevor Lawrence, it's Trevor Lawrence, bro. You're going to get a little something, but don't expect a ton if you got him in your lineup. Maybe try to stream someone else. We mentioned two earlier, Sam Darnold. Some of those guys that are out there that have better matchups might be something you might want to take a look at this particular week. But yeah, that's about it for me on the Jacksonville side of things. And, like I said, defensive wise, Chargers D, I think is a good play. Definitely not looking at the Jags for defense this week. All right. And another good, now this is an actual good game. Bucks go up to Buffalo. Bucks against fantasy QBs are 17th, 24th against running backs, 20th against receivers, 11th against tight ends. Buffalo, 4th against QBs, 26th against running backs, 13th against receivers, and they are number 1 against the tight end. And by the way, this game is calling for a little bit of snow in this particular matchup. So what do you think about those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Justin?
Well, you know what? If there's anybody who can handle snow, who's never been, maybe he was in Cleveland. I don't remember it being in snow, but it's Baker. It's Baker and Josh Allen. That's a fun game for the snow right there. Two guys that just don't give a fuck about it. Just play back street or a back alley or football. Just, backyard football is what I was trying to get at. But yeah, I really like it. I enjoy this matchup. For me, it's going to be Baker, Sean Tucker, Tez Johnson, Cade Otton, and of course Emeka Buka. I think you can play all those guys safely in this game. Tez had 2 touchdowns last week. Cade Otton had 9 catches for 82 yards. Both can put up big numbers for you in the right situation and in the right leagues. You're on mute.
So I have a question in regards to that because I actually have a flex conundrum in our league of record or home league, whatever the hell you want to call it, because I do have Sean Tucker, but I'm debating him in the flex or Wan'Dale Robinson. We're non-PPR, so what do you think of that? Who do you think I should go with there?
Oh, jeez. That's such a great question for the fans. Um, if it was me, I would just go with Sean Tucker, especially if there is going to be snow. I think that you'd want to. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring to this game. The Wandale offers a lot of upside, but I feel like Sean Tucker is a very upside type of guy too. And I liked what I saw last game. Rashad White is obviously not as good as he was at the beginning of this takeover from Bucky Irving. So I think I would go with Sean Tucker. And I know you need this one, so I'm actually giving you some good advice. I'm trying to give you good advice here. Don't chop my head off when it's bad.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I had Sean Tucker in all week, and then when I heard Slayton was going to be out, I was like, "Ooh, Wandale, this is going to be a good." So, but again, as you mentioned, Buffalo's defense is just not good against running backs. Achan's ate them up twice now. Like it wasn't just last week. Even in the first game they lost, he ate them up a little bit too. So they just can't seem to stop the run. Sean Tucker is a very downhill runner, which, like you said, in the snow, if it does end up being that way, he could be a big start for the team. And again, Packers D is really good. So, if I come into that area where Jameson's struggling, I'm going to be screwed on the Wandale side of things. So, all right, yeah, I think I might. We'll see. It's still a little bit of time left, so we'll keep an eye on the weather. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Now, as far as this particular game, obviously Josh Allen, he's up there as one of the premier QBs. You're starting him no matter what. By the way, I don't know if you saw the banter between him and Baker this week, but it's just nothing's cooler. I think of them two talking trash back and forth in the media, just having fun. It was just more fun. Like I think Baker said something like he needed a ladder to talk to him because he was so tall, and said something about he had little hands. So if somebody being cold, so then Josh said something to the effect that Baker's the kind of guy that uses two gloves when he golfs. So they're just going back and forth. I love it. I like James Cook. Obviously, he's been doing big things for the Bills all season. Dolphins got into it a little bit to him last week. But I don't see much. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because Khalil Shakir is sounding like he's not going to suit up. And I don't know who the hell to tell you. And no Dalton Kincaid as the other two big offensive weapons for Josh Allen. So now you're like, is it Keon Coleman, I guess? I mean, is he going to do something? I don't know. If he's going to do something, the time is now. It wouldn't be a bad flyer to take on a flex side of things. But other than
Dawson Knox.
Yeah, I know.
Knox.
It's like Dawson Knox.
Remember, the only other game that Dalton Kincaid missed this year, what did the first drive Dawson Knox started off with a touchdown? It's weird, man. He loves to give it to the guys that you're not going to start. So you kind of got to get in that mindset of like, okay, Matt Collins. Oh no, wait, he's on the fucking Patriots.
Right. He shows up still now too. He's still that guy that you're like, oh, it's Matt Collins, but here he is, another touchdown, and he's up talking shit always. So, but yeah, it's tough. Like you said, Dawson Knox is that guy. It was a couple years back. We had that clip on the show when we were talking about Hunter Henry being the old reliable. You can't get the fine girl at the club, so you call the old chick that she's always down. She don't look that great. That's Dawson Knox too, bro. I mean, he ain't all that. But he, like I said, he's old reliable, period. Especially with Dalton Kincaid out, I definitely can see him getting in the end zone in this particular game. So, this will be a fun game. But, like I said, I think as far as the receiving options for the Bills, you're somewhat limited, but I like James Cook to get some catches out of the backfield this week, especially too. So I think he's a good start either way. All right, so we were talking about this earlier, the old man shootout, the Bengals at the Steelers. Bengals against fantasy QBs are 31st. They are dead last against running backs, 16th against receivers. They're also dead last against tight ends. And we know last time they played, Steelers lit them up for three different tight ends. Pittsburgh against fantasy QBs are 26th, 8th against running backs, dead last against receivers, and they're 28th against tight ends. So what say you on those Cincinnati Bengals?
Just keep it real simple, man. Go with Joe Flacco. Go with Jamar Chase. Go with T. Higgins. And, if you're in PPR, go Chase Brown because that dude had I think 9 catches the last time he was out. Huge game from him. I think the Steelers defense will slow up the run game, but oh my God, it's gonna be fun if the wind doesn't destroy this football game because you really look at it, both sides can put up big freaking numbers. This could be like what the Steelers and Jets did earlier on in the season. We all know how much that benefited our fantasy line.
I said it the other day. Look, the fact is, the Bengals might not be that good, but man, they are so much fun to watch. It seems like every game since Joe Flacco's taken over, they've taken it to each team to the limit, down to the wire, because they're putting up 40 points. The other team needs to put up 40 points. So I'm with you. I sincerely hope the weather doesn't impact this game as much because you got to love Aaron Rodgers in this matchup. He's already shown you he can light up this Bengals D, so you can expect him to do it again. I'm not a big Jaylen Warren guy, but man, if this is a week to start him, this is that week. Dead last against fantasy running backs are the Bengals. So, and I like DK. He's definitely a wide receiver too, to flex option. And get the Muth or whatever the hell they say. Put Pat Freiermuth in your lineup if you're looking for a tight end to stream this week. Because like I said, last time they played, it was 3 tutties from 3 different tight ends coming from, even Jonnu Smith. I don't even know if he's still playing over there. Remember when Jonnu Smith was such the hot-ish when he was with the Dolphins, and now all of a sudden it's just we don't even hear his name every other week. So the fact is, I like everything on the Steelers side because this Bengals defense, it's been so porous all season long. So I'm good either way on anybody in the Steelers lineup. And like I said, I do like DK a lot to get in the end zone this week. So, all right, before we get to our 4 o'clock games, our girl Meg, who comes on us on our Wake Up with TSS show on Sunday morning, she's also a bouncer, and she keeps your fantasy players that might not do so well out of her club. So let's check out the Meg Zone for week 11.
Yeah! Yeah, baby, I'm in some MEG Zone today. Security.
Hi guys, welcome back to the MEG Zone, my exclusive club where only the best fantasy football players make it in each week. Everyone else gets stopped before they have a chance to get in. This week, I've got a few heartbreakers, unfortunately. First up from my Atlanta side, Darnell Mooney.
Security.
He's been so disappointing of late. Now, I am really hoping that I'm proved wrong for my own selfish reasons this week, but I just cannot see him making anything happen right now. Now, whether that's coaching decisions or whether that's down to talent, I preferred Casey Washington, and I've been a high on that train ever since I saw him last season in pre-season. Darnell Mooney, unfortunately, mate, you're not getting into the club this week. Another NFC South disappointment recently has been Rashad White.
Security.
Now they're facing a Bills side that is super strong this week, and I just can't see Rashad White doing much. Unfortunately, since Bucky Irvin's back, he's just not making the same impact. He's not making the waves at the team, and I would just be saying, be very aware, very cautious of putting him in your team. Finally, we've got DJ Moore,
Security.
Chicago, and I am saying he's so inconsistent. He has 0 points last week. He had 4 opportunities and missed all 4. The week before did pretty well, 23 points, not anything to be sniffed at. But the week before that, he was back at 11. So he's just not consistent enough for me, and I just do not see him making moves this week that is anything that's going to be to write home about. So I would be avoiding DJ Moore this week as well. For more hints, tips, tricks and advice on all things fantasy football, follow me at Ballers_Meg on all social media platforms, and check out TSS Fantasy on That Sports Podcast Network, as usual, every Sunday, where I will be joining the guys to wake you up for Sunday morning football. See you soon, guys.
Security.
Indeed. I don't think you have to worry about DJ Moore this week. Apparently, he's not even playing, so he's definitely not in the MEG Zone this week. All right, let's get to the next matchup, the 4 o'clocker. This is one you've been waiting for. The 49ers going to Arizona to play Jacoby Brissett. 49ers against fantasy QBs are 23rd, 21st against running backs, 22nd against receivers, 18th against tight ends. I don't know what happened to this Niners D I was so used to seeing. Arizona against fantasy QBs are 6th, 20th against running backs, 18th against receivers, and 17th against tight ends. All right, our Niner Insider, what do you got to say about your boys this week?
Well, I'll tell you what happened in the 49ers defense. I'll say the same thing that I said to my buddy. Hey, do they sell any of the jerseys of the guys on the defense right now on Fanatics.com? No. The answer is no. You know why that is? Because they're third stringers. They're third stringers that were never supposed to get their jerseys sold. They were never supposed to be on the field. That's the problem. Every week you go out there and you go, oh shit, there's another torn ACL. Hey, did you see that one? It's a problem. It's a problem, and we don't have enough time in the world for me to de-stress. Yeah, as far as the 49ers go, Ricky Pearsall 1,000% is ready to go. He's been favoring that grade 1 PCL injury for over 4 weeks now. Actually, I think longer. I think it's like 5 weeks. So he's going to be ready to go. And this is a shout out to Greg. Greg, the juice is loose, mayor. Put him in your lineup, and you will not regret it. You will regret it if you put Chris Rodriguez in there. And I know that's going to bite me in the ass soon. But, yeah, I would say Pearsall, Purdy, you already know CMC. 100% put him in. Other than that, man, I mean, I think it's pretty easy. Kittle, Jennings. Just stick with the normal guys. If I were to pick one guy over the other, it would be Pearsall over Jennings.
So, on the Arizona side, man, like you said, this Niners D is a little banged up, but Jacoby Brissett's Jacoby Brissett, is kind of hit or miss. If they can't get a pass rush on him, he might be able to do some things with Trey McBride. As we know, Marvin Harrison Jr. out this week. Other than that, like looking at the running options, I'm just kind of like, not really, who is it going to be this week? Amari DiMarcado, I can't even speak. Definitely, I think is flex worthy out of this. And, if I was going to take a flyer on any of these Cardinals receivers, it might be Michael Wilson, might be the only guy I think I'd be looking at. Niners, they'll be playing him a little bit more in the slot, as from what I understand. And the Niners traditionally not very good against the slot receiver, and going to put Dortch, I guess, kind of on the more of the outside. So I'm kind of feeling Michael Wilson out of the two receiving really options here. Obviously, you're going to smash Trey McBride this week. I think he should be a definite good play because I don't know what the hell else they're going to do. And like I said, DiMarcado would probably be more in the flex range for me this week. But let's see. This is a question for you. Do you think we gave old philosophers too much credit, i.e. Newton, and object in motion stays in motion?
Hey, somebody had be the first one to say it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
There's always that one guy who states the obvious in your group,
It's funny. And it's funny it was brought up because I always thought that about Newton when he did the gravity, like, oh, the apple hit me in the head. No shit.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Love it. All right. Let's talk about the Seahawks at the Rams. I can't wait for this one. Seahawks against fantasy QBs are 8th, 13th against running backs, 9th against receivers, 29th against tight ends. The Rams are 19th against QBs. They are number 1 against running backs, 17th against receivers, 20th against tight ends. So what say you? I know this one's got to hurt either one you talk about, but what say you about those Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, this is one of those ones where I go past. You're giving me the Seattle side, right? Because they're the away team.
Yeah.
So, Seattle, it's going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba. I can't get beat. This is another one of those backfields that's split literally right down the middle. And if you want the winning side of it, it's Charbonnet because he's been getting the touchdowns. Touchdowns score a lot more than yards do. So, if you have to pick one at the end of the day, if you're miserable and you have these two guys on your team and you have to pick one of them, go with Charbonnet. Sam Darnold, we were talking about it earlier, very good option at the quarterback position. And then, long shot, Rashid Shaheed. He kind of showed out a little bit last week, showed what they kind of plan to want to do with him. Could be very interesting, especially against this Rams team. They might need to pull out all the stops to win this game, which might include hitting him deep for one. So I would not be afraid to put him in as a flex in this game. And then other than that, I mean, Torrey Horton's kind of been put back on the shelf. Cooper Kupp, he's left the building, in my opinion. I mean, this guy should just retire. He doesn't seem to have a lot left. And then their tight end, A.J. Barner, is kind of faded into a irrelevancy as well. So I think I'll just stick with the base guys.
Yeah. So on the Rams side, I obviously am not going to sit here and ever tell you not to start Matthew Stafford. What a season he's having. Although throwing 4 TDs every week, I don't know. He's going to keep that pace up. But especially this Seattle secondary is pretty decent. So, I like you said earlier, I like Devonta Adams in this matchup. But, I like everyone really. I like Stafford. I like Puka. I even like Kyron Williams so in this game. So I think you're going to see a lot of points in this game on both sides of the football. So that's why, as you mentioned before, about Sam Darnold, about Rashid Shaheed, I think game script is going to dictate a lot coming out of this Seattle offense. And I think you're going to see a lot more in the air than on the ground in this particular game. And just one little mention on Kenneth Walker. I mean, I don't have any shares of him, but I was watching, them play because I do have their defense. And I'm sitting there watching him, man. Every freaking game, I feel like when they're in the 10-yard range, they're still giving the ball to Kenneth Walker. But once they get past the 3-yard line, then automatically here comes Zach Charbonnet. So from what I was listening to another podcast, and one of an ex-NFL player was on there saying that what he sees is that the Seattle's coaches don't trust Kenneth Walker down there at the goal line. So, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, touchdowns is big points in fantasy, and that's what you want to latch on to. So to Justin's point, definitely a Zach Charbonnet kind of start for me. All right, let's go to a game where I don't know how much fantasy relevance we're going to see but it's going to be a decent game. Chiefs at the Broncos. Chiefs against fantasy QBs are 12th, 7th against running backs, 6th against receivers, or 7th against tight ends. The Broncos, number 2 against QBs, 5th against running backs, number 1 against receivers, and they're 8th against tight ends. But what say you about those Kansas City Chiefs?
Kansas City Chiefs. It's so I like the matchup for the Broncos defense in this one. I'm not really trusting too much of Patrick Mahomes, which is crazy to say, but Pat Mahomes has struggled against these Broncos before, and it hasn't looked as good as it should. Now he's got all of his weapons, of course. He's got Rashee Rice, who I will 100% be starting. Travis Kelce is not 100% a start anymore for me. I don't know who the running back's going to be. Is it going to be Rashard Smith off of a bye? Is it going to be Hunt? Is Elijah Mitchell going to make some surprise appearance in this lineup? It's a whole lot of what ifs, and I feel like I haven't felt like that way about the Chiefs before. So I think I'm going to safely say just start Rashee Rice and call it a day. Everybody else you can start. I'm just kind of in that position where if I have better options, I'll take them.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier because someone brought up Bo Nix on the Broncos side. I actually have Bo Nix as well, so I have that same dilemma, if you will, this week. But it wasn't much of a dilemma because I got Caleb, so I've been kind of subbing him in for that. But especially in this matchup, makes me real nervous putting Bo Nix out there, and thusly Cortland Sutton, who hasn't really been Cortland Sutton. It's been really Troy Franklin. Both of them. I mean, I'm not even really wanting them. I maybe Troy Franklin I could see flexing, but other than that, I mean, there's really nothing I'm really latching onto other than RJ Harvey. I do like him in this matchup only because the absence of J.K. Dobbins means just a lot of volume for RJ. So that would be probably out of all the Broncos, be somebody I would target as I think he'd be a running back 2 and definite flex play for you this week. But other than that, it's going to be tough goings for both these teams. But it's going to be a good one to watch. So we'll check that out. Let's go to the next one. The Ravens at the Browns. Ravens against fantasy QBs are 22nd, 27th against running backs, 29th against receivers, or 12th against tight ends. Cleveland, 5th against QBs, 3rd against running backs, 11th against receivers, and 9th against tight ends. So in this particular matchup, by the way, this is one that, so we'll talk more weather on Sunday, but supposed to rain and winds up to 24 to 25 miles an hour in this particular matchup. So I definitely wouldn't be looking at Tyler Loop or whoever the hell's kicking the ball for the Browns, because this is not going to be a good game for them. But what say you, my friend, about those Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah, so it's that's really great news to have. I probably would just go with Lamar and Henry and probably just leave it at that, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. The Baltimore defense, 100%. Because Dylan Gabriel can't throw it 5 yards with no wind. He can't throw it 5 yards in a dome. How's he going to throw it 5 yards with 25-mile-an-hour gusts? Maybe that thing will pick up. Maybe he'll be throwing it into the or against the wind, or into the wind, and it'll pick up and it'll go downfield. That's the only hope this guy has. I honestly don't know why they haven't just put Shador in, just for the fuck of it. Just see what he's got. I mean, even if he doesn't fully comprehend the playbook at this point, get somebody who does in there and be like, little dissection of it for him. One of the offensive linemen knows what they're talking about there. Why are we still putting Dylan Gabriel on the field? He's done way too much. He's done way more than I ever thought he was going to do in the NFL. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know why they haven't at least given Shador a shot. Maybe in these next couple weeks we'll finally see them tote him out a little bit more. Since they're not doing that, I mean, Quinshon Judkins in this particular game, if it's going to be rain and really windy, obviously is probably the only Cleveland Brown I would like. You could maybe take a shot on one of the tight ends, but I'm not got a lot of faith in that. There's so many good streaming tight end options. There's not really much that I'd be taking a look at here other than Quinshon, especially if this weather holds up. Love to see a Henry versus Quinshon Judkins matchup. Cleveland's D is good, but get the rain. It's about to be Henry season anyway as it starts to cool down. I'm really liking Quinshon Judkins here, but other than that, there's nothing I like on the Cleveland Browns. All right, let's get to the Sunday night delight. The Lions go to Philadelphia to face the Eagles. Lions against fantasy QBs are 21st, second against running backs, are 21st against receivers, 14th against tight ends. On the Eagles side, they are 13th against QBs, 22nd against running backs, 15th against receivers, 3rd against tight ends. So talk about those Detroit Lions, who you like and don't like.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of just about every line in this game, to be honest with you. I don't really see this being a huge defensive struggle for either team. I feel like it's going to be going downfield, and just matching points. I'm a big believer that Jameis Winston is going to be a bigger part of this offense going forward, and that's not just because I overdrafted him this season. It's because of what happened last week and what happened when Dan Campbell decided, hey, I'm going to take over the sheet and we're going to start utilizing this guy, because then you saw it. You saw what happens when you get this guy the ball in his hands. It's Who's going to catch him? I was saying that last week. Who's going to catch this guy? Nobody. Nobody caught him. And, on the other side, the Eagles defense has looked very suspect outside of Quinshon Mitchell. Like, very, very suspect. And we already know where he's going because he travels with his number ones. So there ain't no way he's not going to be attached to the hip of Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, once again, I pose the question, who's going to catch him? So just lob that thing up there and let Jameson go work. Jahmyr Gibbs, Eagles defense has not been nearly as good against the rush as I thought they were going to be. The two young inside tackles have really been kind of soft. I mean, Jalen Carter surprisingly has not been as good as advertised. The only thing he's done so far this season that's been remarkable has been his infamous spitting moment. And then, yes, outside of that, like I said, the only thing I'll bench is the Lions defense because I think the Eagles will be just as effective on the other side.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those playoff type games where it's just going to be, like you said, back and forth. Whoever's got the ball last is going to win this game. I love Jalen Hurts. I love Saquon. I love both AJ Brown and Devonta. I know there's been a lot with AJ whining about.
He's like the most annoying, fucking wide receiver we've had in a long time, dude. Dude is winning. And it's like,
getting involved, but he's going to have
and mowing.
Yeah, he really is, bro. Honestly, like I said, your team is like dominating, record wise anyway. So shut the hell up, will you? We got a question from Ezekiel Ruiz. He wanted to know he needs a tight end. Should he use a waiver for Schultz? But I believe, let me look at that while I'll pose that question to you. And let me look, because I believe Dalton Schultz is a little banged up actually this week. So let me check that out. What do you think, though? You think you should use a waiver on Schultz?
I think Schultz is an okay option. I think there are better options out there. If Theo Johnson is still available in your league, that's a phenomenal option. Brenton Strange is coming back. He was a big part of Trevor Lawrence's game plan. Let's see who else is really good.
He is cleared to go. I just want to make sure because I remember hearing that he was a little banged up earlier in the week, and again, Tennessee actually hasn't been bad against tight ends. They've been 10th on the season against tight ends. So I don't know what your other options are, but Justin's laid a couple out for you. I even mentioned Pat Freiermuth this week. Bengals atrocious against fantasy tight ends, even Jonnu Smith, because he ain't nobody really been talking about him neither. So, those are some other options as well in this particular one. Is there anybody else you can think of?
Yeah, I was going to say, Colston Loveland in some leagues are still available because he's obviously, when you have a tight end, you have a tight end. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of good options out there. Some people have dropped TJ Hawkinson. He might be due for a good week against the Bears. If I have to pick for Schultz, it's because it's kind of like at the back end of the 15, if that makes sense. Like it's the last part of the 32 starting tight ends would be I'll take Schultz. But if there's another guy out there that has a little bit more upside, I'll take him.
I like one other one is I hate to say it, but Zach Ertz could find himself in the end zone a couple times. Miami atrocious against tight ends, so he's somebody else you can maybe take a flyer on if he's out there on your waiver wire. If you have some better options to give us, let us know. We'll take a look at that.
I was going to say he's been pretty good this year. I don't think I've seen him dropped in any of my leagues, so that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's like I said, because people, some of the newer guys that are coming on, I've seen him dropped in a couple of leagues. That's where I'm like, I mean, like I said, there's just been, it's been a good, a year for the tight end, if you will, because there's some decent options you can go with. All right, let's finish things up. And by the way, yes, I like Goddard. Speaking, I didn't mention him, but I like him in this matchup as well. All right, let's go to the Monday night finale, the Cowboys against the Vegas Raiders. Dallas against fantasy QBs. dead last, 32, 31st against running backs, 31st against receivers, 15th against tight ends. Raiders, 14th against QBs, 18th against running backs, 27th against receivers, and they're 5th against tight ends. So what say you on the Dallas side? Who you like and don't like?
It's who don't I like at this point. Like, I mean, from Dak to the defense, start them. Your defense is going against, once again, the guy who leads the league in interceptions. Plus, he was getting ragdolled last game. Now you got Quinnen Williams playing for you. You're going to have a whole new feel to it because you got a bye week, and now you put this new juggernaut into your defense. Man, and then at this point, man, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, I think I would play. That's one of those situations you have both those guys on your team. Fuck it. I'm going to find a spot for both of those guys on my team. It's going to be fun to be a Dallas Cowboy fan again just for this one game because the misery continues after this. But for this one game, I think everybody kind of eats.
It's funny because I was big on Pickens and Dak, and I was really big on this offense prior to going, and it's kind of played out not as much as I thought it would, but it's kind of played out that way because this defense has been that bad. So it's caused them game script wise to have to put up points. Javonte Williams has been a big monster this season, so way beyond my expectations as far as he's concerned. But that was the other reason why I thought Pickens was going to do so well, because I'm like, they ain't got nobody in the running game. Yeah, okay. On the Raiders side, it's real easy. It's Genty. This week I like him and I like Brock Bowers. And that is it. So just go ahead and wrap that thing up. I definitely ain't playing that defense. There's no Monday Night Miracle waiting for you if you're playing Raiders D this week. So yeah, I'm all in on. I'm all in on Genty. I think he's at least a running back 2 this week. And Brock Bowers is Brock Bowers, bro. So you do what you will. Truly Fresh TV, welcome in. Freddie wants to know Javonte and Adams for Jetta's my team, and Genty Javonte. Okay, I don't know. Do you know what we're saying here? Javonte and Addison for Jettas.
He's saying Justin Jefferson. He says he's Javonte Williams and Jordan Addison for Justin Jefferson, and then his team's got Genty, Javonte, Henderson, Vidal, CD. I'd do it. I think Justin Jefferson's about to turn a corner. He's obviously the top target in Minnesota. They faced some stiff defense, and that kind of changes this week. And I don't think that they're going to be facing as many great defenses as they've been facing. Let me take a quick look at them because I just happen to have him. Yeah, go ahead.
While you're doing that, I'm going to give my counterpoint. I wouldn't do this, and the reason why is because Marion Hampton will be back soon, and probably for your playoff run. So if you take you're gonna give away Javonte. You do have Henderson, but then that's Vidal, who would then be the backup running back at that point. So I don't know if I do that. I think that's just too much of an ask to take Javonte Williams off your team and leave yourself so bare at the running back position. I don't think Justin Jefferson is that guy that's going to, do those huge things that he's done in the past that's really going to make up for you not having that running back. I mean, it's a good thought process. If there was anybody else, if there was a good slinger there in Minnesota, I would have full faith in Justin Jefferson. But right now, with J.J. McCarthy, I really just don't have it. So I would hold off on that. But go ahead, Justin, my bad.
So, no, you're good. You're good. So here's the playoff schedule for Justin Jefferson. Dallas, the Giants, and the Lions.
Ooh.
That's a juicy fucking schedule.
That is juicy.
And the last game, I thought that Addison had out-targeted him. He actually out-targeted Addison. He had 12 targets. So he's getting fed. I think this is just more or less getting rhythm. And I think that this Chicago game this is me personally, I think this is going to be a rhythm-getting game for them. I think him and McCarthy are going to start to get on the same track, and then it's just going to hit the ground running. They got Green Bay, they got Seattle. Those are going to be tough games. But then after that, they finishes off the season week 14 with Washington, Dallas, the Giants, and the Lions to finish you off for the playoffs. That is a phenomenal stretch. I totally agree. I think you have an incredibly valid point here, and I was very narrow-sighted in not seeing that Vidal was definitely going to be gone very soon with Hampton coming back. But there's something to be said to have Jay Jettas and fucking CD Lamb on that team. If Henderson does stick it out.
So here's what I'd say. I would counter this offer. And you never know what this other owner's looking. You don't know what his knowledge is or if he's watching TSS Fantasy. So maybe take out Javonte, put in Vidal and Addison for JJ and see what happens. I mean, maybe they bite, and if they do, you're going to have Javonte, you're going to have Henderson, you're going to have JJ and CD. It's a wrap. You don't even need anything else, bro. You're going to be slapping people up. So that's what I would do, is just maybe counter it, see if they'll bite on Vidal, and then, buddy, you are in the fantasy bowl for show. Appreciate your question, though, my friend. All right, well, if you stuck around, we got a treat for you. Our boy Andrew LeDuc, not with us tonight, but he's our sophisticated man of the hour. And what he likes to do on Friday nights is bring you sophisticated starts of the week. So let's check it out.
It's time to bring some sophistication to your fantasy lineups with Mr. Mallard.
Welcome to Sophistication Station here on my beautiful library fireplace going. It's fall, baby, here in New England. Let's talk about some classy starts for you for this week, because we're right around the corner from the playoffs. You're going to need that extra little spark of touch, spark of class. You know what I mean. Let's start with James Cook. James Cook going up against that Tampa Bay defense that Henderson had his coming out party against last week. I expect James Cook, who is still the main part of that offense right behind Josh Allen. Cook is going to eat. He's going to cook. Yes, chef, let's go against Tampa Bay. And then let's get to Jacoby Brissett. I know, maybe a little bit surprised here, but Jacoby Brissett has now been solidified as the starter going forward for the Arizona Cardinals. Bye-bye Kyler Murray for now. Jacoby Brissett, he's been looking good. He's been looking consistent, and he's going to need to throw the ball to somebody. So, in the highest point total, one of the highest point total games of the slate this week, I like what the Cardinals are going to be doing. I like him to be throwing it to Trey McBride. Trey McBride should continue to get the most targets and catches for this team. So give me Brissett, give me Trey McBride, give me James Cook, and let's go get yourself a win. Let's be classy. Let's do it in style. Stay classy, my friends.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Now go win your fantasy matchup with class.
Go win it with class, indeed. We got one more question here from Ezekiel, Justin. He wants to know, should he trade Pollard for Tyrone Tracy? What do you think?
Well, I mean, if the rumors are true, and like you said, the new coach likes Tracy Jr., yeah, why not? Tony Pollard, he's not going to get you anything, and something tells me they're gonna go to Tajay Spears anyways, just to see if maybe he can be their youngster of the future. I would go to Tyrone Tracy. I mean, I think that's a kind of a fair trade. There's really, in my opinion, zero upside to it, but I think that's definitely a fair trade. The upside would definitely come in the fact that, maybe you get a starter and Tracy for the rest of the season, whereas, like I said, I think Pollard is probably going to be done after this year in Tennessee, and they might either move to Spears or draft somebody.
And I'd be good with this too. I think there is upside with Tyrone Tracy because it's just a better offense. I mean, not that much better, not leaps and bounds, mind you, but it's much better than the Titans are bringing to the table. So, especially if Jameson Williams starts to hit a little bit, starts to hit this week. So we'll see, but I like this trade. I would definitely trade and get Tyrone Tracy. All right, don't forget on Sunday morning, 8 a.m., wake up with us, and we will get you ready for your fantasy and NFL day. We got, of course, Brian Scott will be in with his injury news. We got Eric brings you his betting advice. We'll also bring in, of course, our Sunday morning cartoon. We'll do our game picks, and Fantasy Jesus will be here. He'll be here to bless your fantasy football lineups. All right, guys, well, we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Go ahead and follow us everywhere at TSS Fantasy, and of course, right here on that Sports Podcast Network. We appreciate all of you for joining us tonight, and we are out.